boy, Paulo Coelho went dark with this one. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome back to another episode of Books and Buds, where we discuss the two greatest things on earth, books and buds. You will notice that I am not in a room filled with cannabis, and I'm not holding up any books today. That's because it's just so beautiful out today. I wanted to do this video outside, so in my rush to get out here, I forgot the book, but that's all right. You guys can trust that I read it, that I own a copy. And what book are we talking about today? Well, if you clicked on this channel, you already know that it's Veronika Decides to Die by Paulo Coelho. Now, my fiance and I have covered two of his books in the past, and we just think he's absolutely wonderful because the things he writes about are just so beautiful and spiritual and uplifting. But this book was a little bit different. Veronika Decides to Die is just that. She decides that she wants to commit suicide. It's a very, very dark topic for Paulo Coelho. But he does a wonderful job at making such a dark topic very light. So, for instance, right at the very beginning, Veronika decides to die. She's had enough of life. Now, she's got two main reasons for wanting to commit suicide. And they're both good reasons, I guess. Anyone that's lived long enough can pretty much understand where she's coming from. But number one is she's no longer young. She feels that at this point in her life, she's watched too many people she loves pass away. And she has already witnessed a lot of her youth disappear and figures it's just going to get worse from here. Now, I'm a 41-year-old man. I understand that logic. However, when we go through the book, we kind of also see what I've learned in life, that you just got to keep going and more beautiful things do happen. And at this point in my life, I can't imagine living the life I used to live in my youth. It's better now. But Veronika isn't at that point yet. She's at that point where she's realizing she's getting older and she figures it's just futile to keep going from here. Understandable. I get it. We all go through a midlife crisis, whether it be a small one or whether it be a major one. Well, clearly she's going through a major one. Her other issue, which is something I believe that we can all identify with, is just that the world is a very, very hard place, and she feels at a loss of how she can do her part to help, to do anything, to make a positive change. Well, again, that's one of these things where she realizes as the book progresses that even if it's just a small act, something really small, you can make a change. For instance, she uses an example of how she was just kind of having a bad day some time back, and a complete stranger just walked up to her and handed her a flower. And it made her feel special. It made her feel wonderful. Now, this complete stranger wasn't a Mother Teresa, it wasn't a Martin Luther King, it wasn't anybody like that. It was just some stranger that did one small little act of kindness, and it changed someone's entire day. And that's all it really is. I mean, it'd be wonderful if we could all do something really huge to change the life of everybody in a positive way, but hey, that's not always the case. We all just do the best we can. And if we can just help one person every now and again, then I think we're doing our part to make this world a better place. It's all about the whole. It's not about the one. If we all do our part, we can make the world a better place, which she discovers as we go throughout this book. Okay, now here's where Paulo Coelho decides to make light of such a tough subject. The young woman, Veronika, is from Slovenia. Now, as she's dying, as she just swallowed a whole bunch of pills, she's reading this article in a magazine, and she realizes that one of the author of the article assumes that all the readers don't know where Slovenia is, and that's where she's from. She's from Slovenia, and takes it as a personal insult, and it's like, well, no one knows where Slovenia is. Otherwise, the author of this article wouldn't have taken the time to mention it. So she uses that as her suicide note to kind of make light of her dark situation. And right there, right at the beginning of the book, the first handful of pages or so, you're left kind of chuckling to yourself because he went at a good length to make it lighthearted and okay to read something this dark. So right then, you're set on a path where you know it's going to be an okay read, where it's not going to be all doom and gloom by the end. You know he's typical Paulo Coelho, and you're going to feel pretty good by the end of this book. Though her suicide wasn't successful at first, it was successful enough where the doctor informs her that she's got about a week to live because she did enough damage to her organs that she's going to be alive for a little while, but not for long. And this was where the book gets so typical Paulo Coelho. It was just beautiful. It's where she learns that she can make a difference, because just being in this hospital with all these desperate people who are in a similar situation as hers, she realized that it's just the small things that you can do on a daily basis to make someone else's life a little bit better. And it's not only her, it's other people and what they do and what they say to her that make her wish that she had never tried taking her life in the first place. So it's one of those beautiful books that has a surprise ending. The thing that made me want to pick up this book is my first date with Patty. So if you're unfamiliar with Patty, she's done a couple videos with me in the past. 2 of them were Paulo Coelho books, and our video that we did on By the River Piedra, I Sat Down and Wept, is our biggest video. So if you feel like clicking on it, please go through my channel and find it. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a big hit. Understandably, it was a beautiful book. But she's the reason I picked up Paulo Coelho in the first place. On our very first date, we're talking about books, as I'm just a book junkie, and she's talking about Paulo Coelho because she just loves him. She wasn't a big fan of The Alchemist, which is the only book I had ever heard by him at that point. She said that her favorite book by him was Veronika Decides to Die. And the way she was discussing the book and just the passion in her face and talking about how the whole book progressed and how this woman realized that she could make a difference in this world, even in just like a domino effect in just a series of small ways, I gotta buy this book, because I don't usually hear people talk that passionately about a book. So what happened was, in all my writers groups and all my reading groups online, the book The Alchemist consistently comes up every time someone posts the question, what is the book that inspired you the most? Or as a writer, what author made you want to write? The Alchemist consistently, without fail, is in every single one of those comment sections. People just love the book. It's very rare I hear someone that says they didn't like it. So I read that book first, and I was deeply impressed by it. So I said, okay, let's try this other book, Veronika Decides to Die. Well, it was a wonderful book. I was blown away by this book. And that's why I decided I wanted to make this video, because I think this author is so well known for The Alchemist that a lot of people kind of miss out on the other books that he has out there. Veronika Decides to Die, The Zahir, By the River Piedra, I Sat Down and Wept. He's got a ton of books in his library, and he's wonderful. And he's also inspiring to me because, from what I understand in my reading, he didn't write The Alchemist, his first book, until he was 38 years old. Now, I'm 41 now, and I'm still trying to find an agent. It's very difficult trying to make a career as a writer, but hey, if he can do it, anyone can. So it's a good thing he didn't try to kill himself when he started approaching midlife, and that's when he really buckled down and wrote his greatest work. So hey, don't kill yourselves. I guess that's the bottom line of this book, and it's the bottom line of this episode. So do not try to kill yourself. You got a lot to live for, and if you're honestly feeling that midlife is something to be afraid of, or old age, don't. I mean, that's when you can sit back and take all the lessons you've learned from the previous part of your life and apply it to the second part of your life. And as far as my experience goes, it makes life so much easier. And if you think that you don't have anything to contribute to Earth, think again. Think about the people who love you. Think about the people whose lives you've just changed, even if it was just for that one day, by telling them that they looked nice, or that you really just appreciated something that they did maybe a couple days in the past. It really all just boils down to being kind to each other, doesn't it? Alright, well everybody, don't forget to keep an eye out for my book coming out in the fall of 2021 titled Corpse Lily. I also write like Paulo Coelho in regards to his spirituality and just people being more kind to each other and just looking for the positive things in life. So if you like Paulo Coelho, you might be interested in my novels. Keep an eye out for my debut, Corpse Lily, coming out very soon. I don't think you will be disappointed if you're a Paulo Coelho fan. With that said, don't forget to hit like, don't forget to subscribe. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of Paulo Coelho and his book, Veronika Decides to Die. And until next time, I appreciate you tuning in, and you have an awesome day.